It's now my pleasure to introduce Tim Wyrosdick, who is the Superintendent of Santa Rosa County in Florida. Tim is someone that I work with very closely, and what sets Tim apart a little bit is his focus and embrace of the Leadership Development Institutes. Remember that fourth step in the EBL framework, and that's that coaching and training? Quinn Studer says that when the leader of a hospital or a healthcare organization or a healthcare system really grabs that leadership development and makes it theirs, that's the greatest opportunity for success. Tim works with us not just to set the agenda for a day with his administrators and leaders, but he also sets the objectives for the year. What is it we want to accomplish this year? And we're in our third year with Santa Rosa County, and that really has been that movement. This summer, in the spring and summer, he has focused with them on really studying servant leadership. And to know Tim, that really is his style. And so we are going to begin this year to really focus on personal and professional development of individuals, not just the group. So it's been a real movement and a journey. But Tim Wyrosdick offers you a little different perspective. He comes from a very high-performing district when it comes to student achievement. So his movement to EBL was for different reasons. But please help me to welcome Tim Wyrosdick.
I'd like to thank Robin and Janet for inviting me to participate with you. I'll share with you, this is very self-serving. I plan on learning a great deal more than what you are from me, so I will disappoint you ahead of time, so the expectation is right, fair enough. Robin and Janet are partners with Santa Rosa County School, and that didn't start just a couple, 3 years ago. Santa Rosa County Schools rest in the Northwest Florida. There is another section of Florida rather than Disney World. It's where all the men are intelligent and women are good looking, and you haven't heard this before, but really it is a very pleasant place to live and work. We are neighbors to Escambia County, which sits over here, and they lied to me. They told me no one here would know me, and that these people know me. I don't believe a word they say. I have a son sitting in the back that we joined, and actually are kind of related, I think, almost. I'm sorry to say that. So, my perspective is maybe just completely different from why we are in evidence-based leadership, and I want to kind of give you some background and share with you openly a little bit about where we were as a school district and where we are now as a school district, and the results that we believe are a combination of the evidence-based leadership, but just Santa Rosa County taking that and making it malleable to what we needed and what we used it for. So I'll start off by just sharing that I hope the questions are longer than the presentation. I really do, because I have about 5 slides, and that's because I'm terribly ADD, all right? So let's start off with who we are. Robin mentioned a high-performing school district and somewhat with progressive vision. That's been our nature and our culture for some 35, 40 years. I'll share with you, we've had 4 superintendents in about a 45-year period. That tells you the consistency of leadership that we've had. Our board remains the same. Our youngest board has served 2 years. Our oldest, that's not fair, all right? Longest serving board member is in his 24th year. We have 3 that way. So it's very, very consistent. So that leadership began years ago under a man who has mentored hundreds of thousands of people exponentially by the name of Benny Russell. He is just an amazing man. But his progressive vision, which brought Santa Rosa County from really a dysfunctional school system 35 years ago, 40 years ago, to where we are today. Today, really, he laid the groundwork, and I'm happy to hold on to his coattail. He's passed away, but still leads in Santa Rosa County, if that makes any sense. This idea of high performing is a double-edged sword. I'll share a little bit about that, but first of all, I want to start off with you. You wouldn't be here, I don't believe, if you didn't have a consistent need or effort or desire to be better, and that really is the center of focus in Santa Rosa County. Your presence here as individuals really does indicate that you're a high-performing school district or you're headed that way. And there are no other opportunities for us. We are either high-performing or we are headed that way. And I applaud you for that. In my situation, understand this, I'll give you some background, we were both. We were both. And it was a series of events that took place in Santa Rosa County that really brought us to the need of intervening on leadership and moving it forward in a positive way. I'll share with you that evidence-based leadership and a partnership with the student group was something that we sought out. We were a high-performing school district. I can give you statistic after statistic. We are high-performing because of three really important reasons. Notice none of these have to do with the superintendent. Right? One, we have unbelievable parents who have really high expectations. We really do. From the high poverty school, which is now 99% schools, I should say 99% poverty rate, to that one that has 2% poverty rate. The consistency and commonality is that they demand excellence. It doesn't matter if my child hasn't eaten in 3 days, I still want him to perform as much or better than that person who spent their vacation in the Bahamas. Do you understand? I have that diversity. So the beauty of that is we're high performing. The double-edged sword is we're high performing. I have a board that looks at me 2 years ago and said, "Congratulations, Superintendent Wyrosdick. We are celebrated in the state of Florida as the #2 ranked school district." Why aren't we one? And that's good. I like that accountability. That's really important. It's very transparent. They understand that they bring those questions to the table because our journey is a journey of excellence beyond where we are. That is the reason, I'll lay that groundwork for you, that and one more I'll discuss relatively, as to why we felt like we needed to move into evidence-based leadership and to bring some structure to accountability for ourselves as superintendent, for our board that's been so eloquently described this morning, and to our leaders in our schools, all the way down to that bus driver who transports that student to school. So that's who we are. That's what we're made of. That's our fabric. We're a district of about 26,000 students. We have 3 non-negotiables in Santa Rosa County. If I send you an email, you'll see it at the bottom of my email. And one, we're servant leaders. We serve others. And we make that focus every single day. If you're a teacher, you're serving kids. If you're an educational support employee, you're serving kids. It all focuses on those students, and that is our goal every single day. Number 2, we demand excellence. We demand excellence of ourselves first and foremost. As iron sharpens iron, you as a professional sharpen me. You hold me accountable. I want that accountability. I demand excellence of myself. I will be the first to measure myself publicly in a board meeting and stand in front of a board and say, here's where I've made it and here's where I have not made it. My board demands that. They're open to that. They're also open to the same type of reciprocal agreement. What have we done as a board to support the superintendent? Those are relationship issues, and I'll come back to that because that really is the focus of my talk this morning. We are servant leaders, we demand excellence, and we focus on students. Those are not in any priority order, but they are things that I do not negotiate on. When we determine accountability systems, when we determine evaluations, and we dismiss, and we have, we've dismissed some administrators who served 22 years, and that's highly unusual. But when you get down to not focusing on those 3 non-negotiables as adopted by the board and demanded by the superintendent and all leaders, holding ourselves accountable, it's an easy dismissal. Actually, they dismiss themselves. So does that make any sense? I hope it does when we get them down the road. If you read the book, it's at 8%, okay? You understand where I'm going, okay? The board adopted and embraced our process of moving to it, and they said the same thing that you're feeling. Change is scary. It is scary. It is, I'm telling you, it petrifies you. When I stand in front of the board and I lay out them my goals and objectives, and then in the spring or early fall, I review what we did or didn't do, it's scary. It's petrifying to me to do that. And I stand in front of them and tell them where we are. So that's our culture. That's who we are. That's how we are, where we are. I start with why evidence-based leadership, and when I want to back up my Scandi County friends who are next door to me or right next to us, so they can amen some of this and they can add to it, okay? Probably, and I want them to. I want them to understand, you to understand that we're a high-performing school district, have been since we've been measuring ourselves, but we had some dysfunctional problems, all right? And if we had not intervened, I believe, without a doubt, that we would not be where we are today. We would not be a high-performing school district, and our students would have suffered, and I'll explain why. I'm telling you a story that you've heard, and maybe one of these you haven't heard, but you've had impasse with your union, right? Raise your hand if you haven't. It's going to happen probably, all right? That is such a pleasurable experience, isn't it? How difficult was it? I closed a school that had been open 107 years, all right? I had a cross burned in my yard. You understand? That's real life stuff here, okay? So it really began to center on what relationships were like in our school district with this impasse. We went to impasse with the union that really, it was very, very difficult. I say it this way. We had very few people in our school district talking to each other amicably, right? It was that difficult. It was that difficult to carry on conversations in a professional nature. So we throw into this idea, we're going to have an evaluation system. Wow, okay, really, Mr. Wyrosdick? Really, we're going to do this? Yes, we are. Here's one, all right? You may remember, maybe, I don't know, you may not remember this highly profiled, nationally acclaimed religious liberty litigation issue. I had one of my principals on Fox News, all right? By the way, that principal hired me, all right? Tutored me, mentored me. It was difficult. That was hard stuff. So anytime you put that type of situation in a school district, you're going to have major problems, all right? We did. We really did. So when I say it was dysfunctional, we weren't talking to each other in an amicable way. We weren't talking professional talk. And that was really, really hard. I cannot pour out my heart and head to you how difficult that was. Very, very, very difficult. And again, my Canby County neighbors, and Denny over here, may amen that as well, all right?
Amen.
There you go. All right. I don't have to mention budget shortfall. I had a operating budget of about $183 million total budget, about $283 million. That's been emasculated down about $27 million. We're still in that throes. You are too. That's almost everyday talk, but how we dealt with that was so important as well. We did RIFs, we did layoffs, we did permanent reductions. We've saved energy by turning off the lights and the air conditioners. We moved our thermostats to 73 degrees. I recommended to the board they adopted, all right, a reduction in athletics. Careful, all right? Careful. They really happened, all right? We reduced coaching supplements, we reduced the number of coaches, and at the same time, we changed the three-tier bus system to accommodate everyone. Malcolm Thomas, my friend in Canby County, my dear friend, tells me, Mr. Ross, you want to make 160,000 people mad? That's the number of population in our school district, right? All at one time, you change the bus schedule, all right? And you mess with their money, and then you mess with their religion. So we did all three, all right? I painted that picture for you because I want you to understand really, really how difficult it was. That's the climate we were operating in. A week after impasse, I sat with my board chair and I said, we've got to do something.